A sacred yearning lingered in this place. She came and now she is going back. But then there is that yearning is still there, that want is there, that little aspiration is there, because the awakening ray has been cast in this field here. Lingered in this train, the worship of a presence and a power too perfect to be held by death-bound hand, the patience of a marvelous birth to come, the patience of a marvelous birth. That is the yearning. It is already there in the soul of man now. It is already there, lingered in his tree. The worship of a presence and a power, both are required. The divine as Sat being and divine as Sat Shakti, both of them are required, power and Shakti. Ishvara and Ishwari, they had to come there. It is the worship of them together, and it is by their coming together, there is going to be the marvelous birth. There is going to be marvelous birth. There is that little idea, inkling, that hint, that suggestion is there that the birth is going to occur now. See. It is going to be there soon. See. Too perfect to be held by death-bound hand. The patience of a marvelous birth to come. Now, one may not be fully aware of what is going to happen, but there is some kind of a perception there that great things are going to be there now. Now, for the birth to take place, as I said, the yoga tapasya is required, and that is being done by the divine himself. Now, for the divine's arrival here, there has to be, of course, the prayer from there, but a large period of time is required to prepare the ground for his coming here. 1,000 years are required for the birth of the divine to occur on earth here. Over a period of 1,000 years, the ground has been prepared, time has been prepared, you see. Well, in the present case also, I think it is more than 1,000 years that the divine incarnation has taken place, starting from Priam in the Battle of Troy, Augustus Caesar, Leonardo da Vinci. All these are the preparation for the fuller avatarhood of the divine. So the preparation goes on over a long period of time here, and bit by bit, by vibhutis, things are built up, and when the ground is ready, then the avatar comes here. In a certain sense, for the higher manifestation of the spiritual light, it was necessary at this stage to have materialism developed to its fullest capacity. Materialism of science. You see, after Renaissance, the wave of materialism which swept mankind was a necessary preparation that a solid ground is prepared for the avatarhood. And therefore, that was kind of allowed to happen. It happened that way. So that is how the preparation goes on in the course of time before the avatar actually appears on the earth, you see. So it is not on 15th August 1872 that the avatar appears. The avatar starts appearing almost 2,000 years prior to that, slowly, you see. And then things are built up, you see. That is the prescience of a marvelous birth. Very few have that idea that, well, this is the preparation for that kind of a thing, you see. The prescience of a marvelous birth to come. Only a little the godlike can stay. Spiritual beauty illumining human sight, lines with his passion and mystery, matters small, and squanders eternity on a beat of time. Yes, she comes here, the vision comes, the ambassadors come here. She throws her light all along. spiritual beauty illuming human sight. You see, beauty is illuminating sight. A new kind of a vision enters into man's perception, you see. Lines with his passion and mystery, matter's mask. The mask of matter which has been put here, it is that which gets now the illumination. It receives the spiritual beauty itself, you see. In fact, the material creation, as we witness today, is a very beautiful creation, very marvelous creation. The gigantism and the architectural designs and all that thing, there's something wonderful. You see, well, it started with Renaissance, but the recent time, the entire architecture has taken a new dimension out of it. The possibilities of matter manifesting in different forms of beauty, it is that which is coming into prominence here, you see. Spiritual beauty, illuminating human side, lines with his passion and mystery, matter's mask. You have put on the mask of matter. Mask of matter is there. In other words, even the physical body will start getting ready to receive the spiritual beauty and squanders eternity on a beat of time. Who squanders that? Beauty. Beauty. And squanders beauty on a beat of time. So all that she has got, well, that is what it means. She has come here, she has done her job, she has gone back. So she has squandered, she has spent herself fully. And now she is going back, you see. The ambassadress, unwanted, spent, she has gone back now, you see. And squanders eternity on a beat of time. As when the soul draws near the sill of birth, adjoining mortal time to timelessness, a spark of deity lost in matter script. Its lust vanishes in the inconscient plane, that transitory glow of magic fire, so now dissolved in bright, accustomed air. So now dissolved, what? That beauty. The one who had come, she had disappeared here. As when a soul draws near the sill of birth, the soul, when it takes the birth from the world of immortality, it steps into mortality. So the threshold is to be crossed and it takes your birth. In that manner, the spark of deity, what is the spark of deity? That beauty, that ambassadress, that vision. See, they are all equivalent terms, you see, as we have seen. Here it has become a spark of deity, lost in matter script. Again, you see, the entire emphasis of this avatarhood is on matter. On matter. It has to be not in the vital, not in the prana, but in the anna, in the material world creation itself, you see. A spark of deity lost in matter script. Yes.
Spark could be the psychic being, no?
Spark is the divine spark, divine Agni.
Psychic being.
Divine Agni.
Huh?
Divine Agni.
Divine Agni?
No.
Not psychic?
Huh?
Psychic spark.
Where is the divine Agni? Yes. Yeah. Spark of deity, you see, he says. Spark of deity lost in matter script. Well, this is exactly what happened, as the mother has described in great detail, what happened on 29 February 1956. The supramental light and force came down upon earth. She took a mighty golden hammer in her hand, smashed the door, and as a flood, supramental light and force rushed into the subtle physical earth. And the moment that happened, it got kind of lost in the inconscience. It has entered into the depths of inconscience, and it is from there now it is rising up. So it is this one, deity lost in matter script, the supramental light and force which came on 29 February 1956. it is now living there in the inconscience, you see, and working out now from that point onward. Now, see how prophetic these utterances of Savitri are. This line was written around 1944, earlier than that, in fact, earlier than 1944, that it has come and it got lost in matter. And exactly the same thing happened on 29 February 1956, in another 12 years, you see. So he has already seen all those things there, and that is exactly what happened there, you see. The mother has described that thing in great detail, how the light and force came and got submerged in the inconscience, you see. A spark of deity. So this sill of birth, you see, this is what has happened, you see. Its lust vanishes in the inconscient planes. In the inconscient planes. Where it is, we don't know. Inconscient planes, you see, there are the vital inconscience, material inconscience, all those things are there. Where it got lost, I don't know. That transitory glow of magic fire, that spark, they are the same. Magic fire. Here he calls magic fire. The mother says supramental light and force. That transitory glow of magic fire. So now dissolved in bright, accustomed air. Bright, accustomed, dissolved in bright, accustomed air. Dissolved in bright, accustomed air. In her own world of light and illumination, she went back. She has disappeared. She has vanished in her world of light. He is kind of tracing the entire sequence of the ambassador of that vision going back to her place. She will go back and report to the Supreme, look, this is the condition. Now things are like this. You have to go and step into the mortal world. You see. The message ceased and waned, the messenger. So whatever she had to do, whatever message of the Supreme she had brought along with her, that she had delivered. And now she has gone back. Gone back to report to the Supreme, well, this is the condition. And now it is imperative that you will step into the mortal world as an avatar, you see. It is the preparation of the coming of the avatar. The message ceased and waned, the messenger. Message ceased, message for this birth, for this earth. Whatever could be received, the awakening ray had come, something was done, kindled, and she has gone back now. The single call, the uncompanioned power, drew back into some far-off secret world. The hue and marvel of the supernal being. She looked no more on our mortality. She looked no more on our mortality. Well, she is not an emotional person. She is a very pragmatic person. She has to go back because things have to move forward. We are seeing that she is not looking at our mortality. In fact, her looking at our mortality may not really achieve what has to be achieved. It is not by looking in our mortality that things can be achieved. It is only by stepping into mortality that things can be changed of mortality. So she is really doing a favor to us, that she is not looking at us, you see. She is not looking at us, you see. It is a kind of a greater indication of something more marvelous, something more miraculous, something brighter that is going to happen. The excess of beauty, well, that is what she is, excess of beauty to us, not for her. Not for the place where she lives, you see. Excess of beauty to us, to the earth, to the human, to the mortal. The excess of beauty, natural to God kind, could not uphold its claim on time-born eyes. Too mystic real for space tenancy. Her body of glory was expunged from heaven. The rarity and wonder lived no more. See, these are all same thing. Excess of beauty. She is beauty. She is rarity and wonder. She is the body of glory. All are corresponding to her, the ambassadress, the vision who had come here, you see. Excess of beauty, natural to God-kind, because she is the goddess, the divine goddess, the omniscient goddess, ambassadress, the omniscient goddess. She is the divine goddess. Could not uphold his claim on time-born eyes. But did she really want to put her claim on time-born eyes? I don't think that was the purpose. Her purpose was to deliver a message, to awaken, to kindle the flame of aspiration in the soul of the earth, to light a yajna for the arrival of the divine as an avatar, you see. That is the purpose. Could not uphold its claim on time-born eye. Too mystic real for space tenancy. Space is too small for her to come and dwell in it. Her body of glory was expunged from heaven. Now see, this is terrible in the sense that how the poet is using the possibilities of language to express many things. The excess of beauty, natural God kind, could not uphold. It's an active voice. Too mystic real for penancy. Her body of glory was expunged. Was expunged. By whom? She is no more now in heaven, in our sky. She has gone back from her, she has withdrawn. But then, who expunged that glory from the sky? That passive voice, suddenly opens out many dimensions. Earlier, the excess of beauty in natural God kind could not uphold. It was okay, that's fine, all right. But here her body of glory was expunged from the sky. No? Tell me. You see, here of course heaven stands for sky, the terrestrial sky, in our sky, heaven. Heaven not the world of gods, but heaven is sky. You see. From the sky, because the dawn is there in the sky, and from the sky the dawn has gone back, you see, without kind of leaving the day behind, you see. Gone back. Now, how is one could read also, her body of glory was expunged from heaven by heaven.
By heaven?
Huh?
By heaven?
From heaven.
Why not by herself?
No, we cannot. We cannot.
She is a power also.
Huh?
She is a power.
Her body of glory was expunged from heaven by us. No, we can't. We are very small, feeble creatures.
No, by her, by herself.
By her, she won't expunge herself.
Why not?
See, in fact, I am coming to that. First one way one could say this thing as her body was expunged from heaven by heaven. The poet would not elaborate in that manner. He is not writing a prose essay. So, was expunged by sky says, okay, now you go back. You see, she has gone back. The other thing is the one who has sent her here. It is he who expunged her from heaven. You have gone there, you are doing your work, and it is he who says, okay, your job is done, and now come back, you see, was expunged from heaven. See, there has to be something very superhuman, something absolutely tremendous for her to be dislodged from the sky, you see. And that can happen only from above, you see. Yes, you have done your job, now you go back and things will happen further on. Her body of glory was expelled from heaven. You see, I have written here something. Reality and wonder lived no more. Okay, that is she herself. Where she was living here as a tenant of space. Space tenancy. She was working here as a tenant, living here as a tenant in the house of space. So, she being spaceless, infinite, she cannot stay there for too long. She would find it too constraining. She came here, adjusted herself, so to say, for a while to deliver the message, to prepare the necessary ground, to cast the seed of the future. She has done. And therefore, the space now, unable to hold her on, says, okay, she has to go back. Space herself is back. That is one way of thinking. If she is a tenant here, then, of space, then it could be time. Time-born eyes. It is time who is expelling her from this house she is occupying as a tenant. She has come here, she has done her job. Now it is time for her to go back and do something else. Time-born, well, otherwise a time and space, you see, they have to be linked up in a manner, in a certain sense, you see.
Who is this she we are speaking?
She?
Who is this she?
This is what we have been describing now, the vision, the ambassadress who brought the message.
No, okay.
And she was living here for a while as a tenant.
Okay, but according to this
Yes,
chapter,
yes.
the first line before she, it was like this: only a little the God light can stay.
Yes.
And we start to speak spiritual beauty. It means the she we are speaking, this is the God light.
Yeah.
It's the spiritual
Yeah.
beauty.
Yeah.
It is the divine light.
Yeah.
No? We are speaking of she. The she is the
She
divine light.
is here all along. She is starting from that divine goddess, omniscient goddess, the ambassadress. Ambassadress. You can call her Dawn also. All these are, see, who has cast this seed, who brought the message, the ambassador. She is coming here as an ambassadress.
She.
Huh.
Who is the she?
She is that ambassadress herself, the divine God, the omniscient goddess, the omniscient goddess.
Yeah. That's why I said by herself she can go from here.
No, she was,
Doesn't need anybody.
no, that would not, she herself would go, but then she is thrown away, unwanted, she has to go back. She is not going of her own. See, her body was expunged, but not by herself, but by somebody else. The passive voice means that. And here I would say, in the immediate context, it is the time. The previous sentence, claim could not uphold its claim on time-born eyes. In the vision of eye, in the sight of eye, it could not stay for too long here, and therefore she has to go back. It was expunged from space, you see. How does he say in French?
Which one?
Huh?
Time born?
Yeah.
He said the temporal eye.
Yeah, well, I mean, literally, he's translating it literally.
Yeah, time
Time
born.
born is
Eyes.
translated by Eyes, it's eyes. But time born, he translated by temporal.
Right?
Temporal. Temporal is like adjective coming from the time.
Claim on, no, but it is claim on time-born eyes. Claim on time-born eyes, ours.
Yes.
Yes, it is ours.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. So it is time actually which in the context, you see, in the context of the space, I will link up this thing with time. To mystic real for space tenancy. Well, her body of glory was see, I mean, this is the most beautiful thing the poet has done here by putting it in a passive voice. Was expunged. He doesn't say who expunged her out. That is the power of poetry, you see. From heaven, the rarity and wonder lived no more. The excellence, rarity and wonder, excellence. Well, that cannot stand here too long, you see.